find a new job. That's what I'm saying. Put your running shoes on. I hate to be the bringer of bad news, but the wholesale change that we're seeing, it's cross-societal. I mean, it's totally international. You know, I'm sure you've had the experience. You ask ChatGPT to do something that would take hours, and it's like, oh, that was long. That was 3.5 seconds.
Maxim Jago is a futurist, an author, a filmmaker, and the head of the Creativity Conference, and someone who has an eye on not just a particular company or a particular product, but the entire industry itself. Maxim, it's good to have you back with us.
Very happy to be with you again.
I don't even know where to begin. Our industry is chasing in so many different directions all at the same time. What's your 10,000-foot view? Where the heck are we right now?
As a species?
I don't know. No, as an industry. And if we look at the industry in terms of media production and post.
Here's my take on it. I think that, quite rightly, a lot of well-established technology organizations are presenting tools that are in support of the creator or the creative. So we're looking at automation for post-production. We're looking at generative AI technologies that are getting better and better. There's some really good storyboarding tools. There's a whole bunch of tools supporting the creator. But the truth is, I think it's a bait and switch.
How so?
If you look at the trajectory of artificial intelligence or autonomous decision-making systems, they're just getting amazing. If you think about the first generation of generative AI, you could tell that it was generative AI right away, but that didn't stop it being amazing. And some of the stuff that was being produced was extraordinary. And now we're moving towards photorealistic generative AI. We've now got virtual humans that are indistinguishable from video, let's say, of natural humans, real humans. If you look at the trajectory, we're getting increasingly semantically aware AI, agentic AI. We're getting emotionally aware AI. And that's actually old news now. So we're moving towards AI technologies that, I hate to say this, but in many ways are superior to, let's say, the craft skills of a lot of creatives. Not today. We're okay. We've got
a window.
5 years? Like, we've got a period of time. But my forecast is that organic, certified, authenticated human creativity, I think we spoke about this before, actually. My forecast is that human creativity will take on a premium value. And my best parallel is theatre. Theatre was superseded by cinema and TV years ago, but it's doing better than ever. So I think mediums like ads or children's animation, like the low-level media, anyone that works in those fields, they need to put their running shoes on and start, the Where's My Cheese book, right? They need to be thinking about what they're going to do next. That's what I'm saying. Put your running shoes on. I hate to be the bringer of bad news, but the wholesale change that we're seeing, it's cross-societal. I mean, it's totally international. I'm sure you've had the experience. You ask ChatGPT to do something that would take hours. And it's like, oh, that was long. That was 3.5 seconds. Right? So, and yes, right now, those technologies are a bit like an experienced intern. They're not right up there today. But 5 years ago, where were they? In 5 years, where will they be?
Well, let's look at another really depressing trend at the moment, which is the globalization and democratization of media.
Yes.
This is a two-edged sword. People that have never had a voice now can afford the tools and can afford access to distribution, YouTube and social media, in a way that they've never had before. So we're hearing people and seeing people that have never had a chance to be heard and seen before. That's the good side. The bad side is that now all of us as media creators are not just competing with people in our region or in our country, we're competing with people around the world with entirely different standards of living, entirely different salary levels, entirely different expectations of making a career. So we're going to be hearing and seeing people we've never heard and seen before and making no money.
I don't know about that. I think you know, I'm not crazy about this application of the word abundance that you get these days. The abundance mindset, I think, is a blind. I think it distracts us from the joy of reality.
What is the abundance mindset?
Well, the abundance mindset is just that the belief that the universe will provide and that everything's going to be okay, and it distracts us from getting on and doing the work, right?
I'm glad I haven't heard that. I don't believe that at all.
Yeah, I don't either, but it's popular. The other end of that scale is the belief that unless you produce something of such extraordinary proportion that the entire world is impacted by it, it's a fail, right? It's like they say anything other than gold is a fail. No. My bar has always been very simple. You just need to earn enough money to not do the day job you'd rather not do. Right? So we're moving towards a time where AI systems are superior at managing and processing things to most people most of the time. So often that we don't bother checking it anymore. And the autonomous robots are superior at doing physical work. And those robots can mine the ore to prepare the materials to build the other robots, generate the energy. We've got new energy generation systems going live. Geothermal, very interesting. Effectively free energy that drives itself forever, anywhere. So next generation geothermal, check it out, it's very cool. So we're moving towards this era where we don't need to work. And my forecast is really benign. I'm really excited about this. I think we will return to a time where before we were defined by our occupation, we were defined by our work. It's very recent in the history of our species. The history of humanity is very recent. Before that time, our focus was on community, personal development, self-realization. And what I'm forecasting, if we're lucky, if we have a twinkle in our eye and we follow the right stars, I think that we may make it to a point where we return to a much, much more natural way for us to live as people. And if you look at the data, you get to choose, right, whether you're going to be a pessimist or an optimist. And all of the evidence suggests that if you choose to be optimistic, because it's just a perspective, it's just a reading on the information, right? You'll live longer, be physically, biologically healthier, have better quality relationships, sleep better. You'll live a longer, happier life. I believe kindness is the key to the next golden age for humanity. Kindness is very powerful. People often confuse it with weakness, but it's not. So I would say for the creatives, we are now at a point where the technology we have available to us at a low cost is so extraordinary that it no longer represents a barrier to the creative process. The cameras shoot great pictures. The computers are super powerful. You can do whatever format you want. The sound is amazing. All of the technology is there. The barriers are gone. The question is, what are you going to create and why? Choose your medium. Now, I've been working on a set of theories to work out if you're a goodie or a baddie. And it's surprisingly difficult. But one of the things I've come to realize, I think, is if you are a goodie, it's necessary for you to be certain that your intentions are good. And you should check yourself every now and then, because very often we don't know what our intentions are. And this is really critical for creatives and storytellers like us. But if you're certain that your actions are good, so certain that you will not be disagreed with, you're probably a baddie. So, remain humble, be ready to be shown that you're wrong, accept that you could be wrong, but really mean it when you set out to be a good person.
What makes you feel so positive about the very disconnected, disorganized, disheveled, competitive environment that we're in now?
Simply that I don't think that's true. I think what makes us human is not just universal, but shared. And the fundamental principles of our humanity are totally universal. Everybody loves to be loved. Everyone needs their love to be accepted. Everyone's afraid of fear, whatever form it takes. And one of the things that's happening in the media is that we're being constantly told that everyone hates each other, even though, there's that classic line, prejudice rarely outlives experience. Absolutely true, absolutely true. That we hate each other, that we're afraid of each other, that people with a different amount of melanin in their skin are somehow a different race. Come on. I'm so offended by the stupidity of that. And I'm so offended that our education system teaches it too. The whole concept of racism is offensive to our intelligence. My mother had a boyfriend in London when she was a teen. I just found this out. He did not know he was black until he went to university and they taught him what racism was. He spent his life up to adulthood just thinking he was a man living in London. And they had to teach him as a black man what racism was. That's what society should be. It's what it was. And it's been coerced into us believing in race. We now have Black History Month in Britain. We never had a problem celebrating black. What the hell?
How would you summarize your optimism?
Number one, fulfillment. The fulfillment of human potential is in the service of others. That's one. Two would be the chances of you existing in exactly the way that you do, by any scientific standard, is nil. So appreciate existing. Appreciation is key.
It is always a delight talking to you. Maxim, thank you very much.
Likewise. Thank you so much for inviting me. Thank you.